after we went back to Australia, it was my, actually I was the only devotee that had a university degree, and Madhavisa thought I might have been a bit smart, but he was wrong. I wasn't very smart, but he got me to arrange all of Prabhupada's preaching programs, and at that time Prabhupada had just been to Europe, and his method of preaching had changed a bit. When he was in Europe and in France, they were starting to invite VIPs, bishops and professors and mayors and politicians like that, big important people. This wasn't done so much before that. So Madhavisa was very astute, and he said, okay, go out and get these type of people. So it took me a couple of months actually, but I arranged for Prabhupada to meet with the Catholic Bishop of Melbourne. I arranged for him to meet with the Reverend Gordon Powell, who was the moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Australia, and he was one of the most popular theologians in the whole country. He used to give a Sunday feast, he used to give a Sunday sermon that was broadcast all over Australia on the ABC. And I invited a couple of professors and a couple of government ministers like that. So when Prabhupada came, Madhavisa gave him the list and the schedule of meeting with all these VIPs, And Prabhupada looked at it, and he said to Madhavisa, he said, "Where are the scientists?" Right? And Madhavisa came over and grabbed me. He said, "You've got to get some scientists for Prabhupada." Now, this schedule of arranging different times and meetings and everything took me 2 months to organise, right? Because, you had to fit this one and fit that one in, and it was pretty complicated. So then he gave me 2 days to organise some scientists, right? So in Australia, there's one big scientific body called the CSIRO. It's a government scientific organisation. And I thought, well, that's where all the scientists must be, So I rang them up. I got onto their PR lady, and I introduced myself, and I told them I was from the Hare Krishna movement. And straight away she said, "Oh, I love the Hare Krishnas. I see them chanting down Burke Street all the time, and they make me so happy, Anyhow, so she was really friendly, And I said, "Listen, our spiritual master's coming, and he would like to talk with some senior scientists like that." She said, "I'll see what I can do," right? So the next morning she rings up, and she had 3 scientists lined up already. And anyhow, they came about a week later, and they came, and one of them was Dr. Hallop, and he was head of the Dairy Research Division, very interested in cows and milk production, and they were all from the dairy division like that. So they came along, and they had a conversation with Prabhupada, and the first thing they asked was, how can we feed the poor starving people of Asia? And what can we do to help the poor people of Asia? And Prabhupada said, "Chant Hare Krishna." And they sort of looked, and again they asked, what can we do to help them? Prabhupada said, "Chant Hare Krishna." And they were sort of bewildered, and then Prabhupada said, he said, "I've flown over your country. I've flown over Australia, and I've looked down and I've seen so much land that's not being used. You give us the land, and we will manage, and we will produce food, and we will feed all the poor people of Asia." So they were sort of satisfied with that, Anyhow, they because they knew about milk, and they wanted to know about the effects of milk on things like cholesterol and things like that. So Prabhupada answered all those questions, and anyhow, they were nice gentlemen. And then finally the conversation was over. They were very respectful, and Prabhupada said, "Bring the prasadam," right? And me being a new boy, I hadn't got any prasadam together for the guests, So I went out, and Deepak had made some gulab jans, right, for Prabhupada. So I went out and I got the gulab jans and I brought them back, and we're giving these guys gulab jans, they're dripping everywhere, in their hand. So one of them, he pulls out his hanky and he's wrapping up the gulab. And Prabhupada said, "What are you doing?" He said, I'm going to take it home and have it with my whiskey tonight, right? And they sort of laughed. Prabhupada laughed, the guy laughed, Prabhupada laughed like that. And then Prabhupada said, no, eat it now. So, eat it, no, have it now. So they're all eating this gula. But, oh, yeah. I was so embarrassed, So then they went outside, and I was curious. I wanted to know why they came to see Prabhupada, at such short notice. And I asked them, I said, why did you come? What was the interest that you had in seeing Srila Prabhupada? And one of them said, oh, my daughter, she got this book off a Hare Krishna on the street called the Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. And she read it, and she said, oh, what a wonderful book. And she gave it to me. And he said, I read it, and I thought it was amazing, right? And he gave it to this other man he gave it to him to read, like that. So they read the Bhagavatam. So then I went back and I told Prabhupada, I said, Srila Prabhupada, these men, they have read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada said, oh, therefore they are gentlemen.